Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Little light on that button, huh, guys? Welcome. I'm John, the Firearms Instructor. If you're new to the channel, I own and operate a firearms training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida, where I specialize in the first-time shooter person just like you that's needing support and help with their accuracy issues. Good evening. I'm glad you're here. You know the rules. If you are new to the channel, obviously go ahead and let us know you're here and tell me a little bit about you and where you're from. If you're one of our local regulars, we appreciate you each week for being here. Make sure you comment. Let us know what's up. How's it been? How's the weather? Got home today, had to get the wife to turn the heat on because it was really, really cold in the house. And I'm getting old, so I have to wear a jacket all the time anyways, everywhere I go to restaurants and eat. But it's a little chilly, so it's a little better today. Hello, Gumpy. How you doing, buddy? I'm glad you're here, my friend. This week, we had a pretty big, last week we got over 45,000, and this week we got over 300 in the Skool community. Hey, Skool community, if you don't know what that is, there's a little QR code up top there. You can scan that and get free access to our Skool community, as well as you get a 4-week masterclass directly from us. No cost to you. You hop in it. You learn your accuracy. You learn your grip. You learn your stance. It's 4 solid weeks of mastering your handgun, absolutely free in the Skool community. All you got to do is get that barcode, pop it in, and there you are. D. Marshall, what's happening? He's on deck. I'm glad you're here. May need to call you into the trenches, my friend. So hopefully you're ready to go. You've been practicing long enough with your firearm that you're ready to rock and roll if you need to be. Woo, woo. That's right, James Russell. 300. Going strong. It's cold, 1 degree outside. I suppose you're going to use that as an excuse, James, for not turning in your targets. No, I'm just kidding, buddy. Listen, you go out. Pete stays in and dry fires. So we're going to pick on Pete a little bit tonight. He was too cold. He complained something about he complained something in regards to de-icing his driveway. Something about a 40-degree angle and ice, and he's worried about it or whatever. So he stayed in and dry fired. No, that's good. I'm glad you guys are safe. That cold weather is really, really not good. I'll tell you, Florida doesn't get a lot of cold weather in the last couple of weeks. We have been getting some cold stuff. John, how you doing, buddy? Good evening. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Welcome. It's awesome. So we are going to do a lot of talking this evening about the one foundation. We started last night in the masterclass group and the HTS about grip, and we're going to extend it into the YouTube world here. We are live tonight on Facebook. We are live tonight on YouTube, and we are live on Rumble. If you know what Rumble is a 2A friendly social media content. Obviously, YouTube is the monster. John, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, it snowed. Yeah, it did snow up in the Panhandle. That's kind of crazy. In our area here in Florida, I would not that I would drive up to go see it, but if I was close enough, I probably would. It's pretty awesome. I know last year, like some guy with a drone was up there in South Florida. Yeah, we're at John. We're at up there. My brother just moved into where Jimmy Buffett's place is, wherever that is up there. He sold his house in I think North Carolina and moved to Florida. So he's closer to me, but not that close. He's we try to stay away from each other as much as possible. But Crestview. So yeah, John, Jerry's up there, and where Jimmy Buffett's place is. That new one up there in the Panhandle, that's where he is. Yeah, we'll have to go see that once he gets it all done. Him and Tammy moved up there. So they're closer. They're in Florida, at least. He's got his 2 boys are over in the East Coast of Florida. Uh, and got some grandbabies over there. So he comes back up and down, up and down, up and down. So that's pretty good. Gives me some place to go fishing. Yeah, my brother's going to be right on that Gulf Coast up there. Pretty nice place up there. All right, so tonight's sponsor is me. Basically, I've got that newest dollar deal for you guys. It's been really, really popular at this point in time, and it is in regards to the Why You Miss. It's a PDF that you download. It costs you $1 single, and it's going to be in a link in the description below. And we're selling a lot of those. I maybe I should have charged a little bit more for them, but no, I'm just kidding. It's a great thing. It gives you some education that you can take right to the range and really use. And for $1, it is well worth it. If you haven't got that yet, you can go ahead and click the link in the description down below and get that information. The idea of those things like that, the PDFs and all that stuff, is to build an email list. There's no free lunches, guys. So you get an email list. We send you some stuff. You can always opt out of it if you don't want it, but it's the best way for me to keep contact. See, YouTube, I may have 45,000 subs on there, but I don't own them. When you are on an email list for me, then I have better contact and better control, just like when you watch this evening. If you subscribe and like and do all that stuff, well, you're owned by YouTube. You're not owned by me. So when I get your email and you buy something like this, I collect your information. So when I go and send something else or build something else or get another class going or anything else like that, you will be known. There's no hidden stuff here. And really, the dollar is all about people who really want to be here. You know, everyone signs up for something free, but what are they getting out of it when you sign up for the masterclass and you sign up for this stuff and you're getting some full education? We started this YouTube channel to motivate, educate, and entertain, and I hope I do that. It is a passion of mine to help students become the best shooters they can be. Hey, thanks for that thumbs up. I've got 1 thumbs up already tonight, and I believe we got that thumbs up before the show even started. So we had somebody chomping at the bits to want to give me a thumbs up already. I appreciate that very much. So we have some comments that we're going to follow through this evening as we do everything. That's about an hour east of Pensacola. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate you telling me that. I'm sure he will. He loves fishing. He loves everything. They're not on the canal, but they're not. They're that. I guess that Buffett area is building a whole marina kind of style, and he can have a boat, so I'll put in the water and have some fun. But he loves like I do, getting out and just walking the beaches and doing all kinds of stuff. So they'll like that. Tammy had to get her golf cart. That was one thing Jerry said he had to buy that house because everyone had golf carts, and Tammy wasn't going to be there without having a golf cart. So they got their house, they got their thing, and they got the golf cart. This is probably the last one they'll ever have. And he's older than me. He's 8 years older than I am. And he's uglier than me. So I'm the pretty one of the family. So that's the one thing. I got a brother, Richard, who is, I think he's 14 or 15 years older than I am. I've got a brother, Ronnie, who is exactly 10 years older than I am. And I have Jerry, who I think he's 8 years older than I am. And then I am the baby. And basically, I was home alone with mom. Basically, those boys all got married real early in life. Jerry, I think he got married at 21. Jerry's plan was to have babies, get them out of the house by the time he was 50. So him and her could go do the world. And that's about what they did. Jerry had his first child at 21 and the second child at 20-something. So I had my Johnny at 30 and Jacob at 31 and a half. So I had him pretty close, and I was going to be close to that. But, that's part of it. Johnny's out. He's got a girl, and him and her live in Fort Myers. And Hillary's a beautiful woman. Hillary 1L, she always reminds me, Hillary was a bad taste in everyone's mouth at one time or another. But she's a Hillary 1L. and Johnny and her live in Fort Myers, and Jacob still lives with me, working at the range, helping me out because I need it. I need it. We're getting pulled in all different directions, so it's kind of fun. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about grip. You guys can comment tonight anything you like. We answer questions all the time, even if it doesn't have to do with the grip. If you're having a challenge at the range, or you're having some kind of accuracy issue you need to talk about, I'm sure we're willing to stop a little bit and talk about that stuff. There are 7 of you right now. I appreciate you being here each week. These things get somewhere between, I don't know, last week we're 160, 170 views already. We do all this stuff because it's a replay after this fact, replay, and they just build. I think we're close to 300 of these bad boys, 300 of these podcasts, 300 of these, live things that we do here. Kind of cool. Out of 300, we probably got kicked off 3 times. One was for cleaning the gun. I didn't know you couldn't do that, so I got kicked immediately for that. One was something to do with a firearm somehow or other. The spider called me, and one was using a yellow gun. They got me for. Listen, who knows? So we try to be careful as much as we can. So tonight is all about why your grip is everything, and 10 tips that makes it unstoppable. The grip that makes or breaks your accuracy. Most shooters think accuracy comes from the front sight or trigger, but the truth nobody ever says is your grip is the only thing connecting you to the gun. If that connection is weak, inconsistent, or unbalanced, your accuracy will always be unpredictable. Unpredictable. Yes, unpredictable. If you really think about it, your grip is your anchor. Your grip is your steering wheel. Your grip is your shock absorber. Your grip is your truth teller. Handguns, the handgun doesn't shoot its own, and it doesn't shoot a bullet crooked. Your grip makes it crooked. If the gun recoils, twists, and vibrates, it's not your guns deciding to move, it's your hands failing to control it. Poor grip forces your sights to lie to you. Proper grip makes your sights honest. When you lock your wrist, build a 360-degree pressure, control the gun during the trigger press, something incredible will happen. The gun stops fighting you. Your sights stop wandering, and your accuracy becomes very predictable, not accidental. Accuracy isn't created at the sights. Accuracy is created in the hands. Trigger only releases what the grip allows. Once you understand this, everything changes. So tonight, we're going to discuss 10 grip fixes that instantly improve your accuracy. I asked the group last night, and most people who are on here, what rating would you give your grip this evening? Now, if you're watching this live tonight, you can always say live, but if you're watching replay, you could put in replay when you put a comment in, and people will know that. But if I said 1 was positively the best grip in the world, and 10, what grip, right? Where do you think your grip rates? Most students last night that have been through the HTS system and have been putting in their homework and their drills and their techniques, the average last night was 6.5 to 7. So well, I think we did it backwards last time. 10 is the best, 1 is the worst. Everyone was somewhere in that 7 to 8 range. So that means that they were really, really had somewhat confidence, but not 100% confident. But there we go. We got someone saying 90 West is an 8. That's perfect. Somewhere about 50% is where you should be, a little higher than 50%. And as we keep going, yeah, there we go, 7, 6, 5. That's perfect. Those are the ideal things we want, because then we start realizing that that's the one thing, like I said in the preview here, the only thing touching the pistol at the time for control is your 2 hands. Unlike a rifle or a shotgun where you have 4 points of contact, you only really have 2 points of contact with your hands. And technically, if you really think about it, these 3 fingers, your thumb is along for the ride, and your trigger finger just engages the trigger back and forth. So technically, you have 3 fingers and the back side of your hand on this side, and then you have 4 fingers in the back side of your hand on this side. That's why we have to close our hands up when we're trying to control a pistol. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get in the HTS system, that QR code you see on the top of the screen there, if you're watching this from your home, just grab your cell phone out, go ahead and click or take a picture of that, or hold your phone over top of it, and it automatically will give you a link that all you can do is click on and join the HTS system. I9 West said, I'm always left with my Glock knuckle at the, yeah, me too. Yeah. I have a Glock bump too, my friend, right there. I'm always trying to hold that gun high, high, high. Glock's triggers are a little tough to use. You want to make sure you got the gun over your dominant eye more than over your nose. That's key thing to most people. That Glock knuckles after I qualify. Yeah, I've got the Glock knuckle. It's right there. We all have it because we lose our grip on the backside. I can tell you, after shooting a Glock for a long period of time, I'm not a Glock guy. Glocks are used throughout the industry for LEOs and cops. And the right hand it fits, the wrong hand it doesn't. I would recommend you may change out one of your back straps if you can, or you're legally allowed to, because a lot of times you guys aren't allowed to do much to your guns. But watch your grip height when you're actually running that gun. I think what tends to happen for me, the 43X, the 48, and all those are thin-framed guns. I don't have as much problem, but I have that freaking short thumb syndrome, and that short thumb syndrome causes me to get the bump Glock on my finger. You won't even know what that is unless you shoot a Glock a lot, but obviously he's a current LEO, so they have to be using the Glocks. There are some that are switching the 320s and switching back really quick, but there are some out there. So thank you for that, buddy. I appreciate that. You know, if you really think about grip is the actual control. And if you don't think you're controlling the pistol or it's controlling you, you got 2 options. You either control it or it controls you. And that's kind of where we need to put our brain around when we're working on. Yeah, well, the Glock, the frame style of the 23 and the frame style of the 19, those are all about the same thicknesses, but the 40 cal has a lot more thump than the 9 did. And that's why, basically, to be honest with you, that's basically why they switched their caliber system. They blamed it on multiple more rounds in the gun, 4 more rounds in the gun. But it did bring up qualifications an awful lot, because 40 cal is a high performance round, and it's got a lot of muzzle flip. So when the FBI did it, they blamed it on qualifications as well. But it makes sense. I mean, you get more rounds in the gun. I'm not sure. I'd rather be controlling the gun and impacting where I want it than fighting recoil and hopefully the bullets go where I need them to go. Accuracy is probably a lot better. Guys are a lot more accurate with a low recoil weapon than a high recoil weapon. Because remember, our brain and our body tries to help us fight the recoil. So somewhere along the line, it's going to help you by flinching or doing some kind of anticipation, which causes inaccuracy issues. So here's the 10 fixes that I kind of recommend each time I'm at the range watching students or what they're doing. Have 3 classes, maybe 4 classes today. And I can tell you, I probably said, don't pull the trigger 500 times today. Because, and not in just the students, but in everyone who's working or anybody who's come to the range. We're back there watching students. We're back there sweeping up. We're back there putting up targets. We're doing everything. It's hard for us not to give them assessments when they're back there, try to help them as much as possible. And majority of students are cranking the crap out of that trigger, and that's causing. Last time you're at the range, if that barrel is in the midst of the firing of the shot, okay, think about last time you went to the range. If you engage the trigger and the barrel is pointed down after the recoil, then you've pulled the trigger to the downward side. If you watch any of my videos on my YouTube channel, the gun is normally up, up, up. It shouldn't be down, because if it's down, we've got some limp wristing going on. We got some other stuff that's happening. It's very common for students not to stiff wrist the gun. They watch TV. They do a lot of different stuff. So when you're cutting a shot, the shot itself, like a Glock, for instance, that trigger on a Glock is probably one of the toughest triggers to kind of get back soft and smooth. It's, as you apply pressure to that trigger, it gets stiffer and stiffer and stiffer until it cuts. And when it cuts, if you're doing it properly, that shot should somewhat surprise you. When you're doing it wrong, you know the gun's going to fire. If you know the gun's going to fire, then you're anticipating. So those are little caveats we got to make sure we understand. So number 1 would be locking your wrist. Locking your wrist out. If your wrist bends, your accuracy bends. At locked wrist gives the gun a stable platform. So when we talk about the best grip, is that 2 thumbs forward grip. And when that 2 thumbs forward grip, just do me a favor real quick. Put your hands out in front of you and index your thumb towards the target like you would, right? If we got right thumb and left thumb, we got them up, indexing up at the target. Now what I want you to do is take this thumb and try to bend your wrist any further. It can't go any further. So how can you have a downward angle on a gun unless you're bending your wrist? You can't. So if you're indexing towards the target and you're locking your wrist out, there's no other way for that wrist to go but straight. And we take the imbalance out of it by pointing our fingers and thumbs, indexing towards the target. And then, James, you were showing a picture today of your grip. And that backside grip area that you showed, I'm going to send you this picture in a few seconds here, DM it to you to kind of give you an idea, that I'm going to share it with the group, is you have that backside open. And if that backside is open in your grip, you're losing control in the backside of that firearm. So when you close your hands up, James, go ahead and squeeze your chest out and close your hands up around the gun and make sure you see no gap. This back side of this firearm should be closed, sir, not open. And if it's open, that's exactly where the pressure is going to come from. and it's going to cause you inaccuracies. And I'll show you that. And I circled it for you to kind of show you. You already mentioned it. You kind of had an idea you were doing it. You didn't know if it was going to affect you. You probably didn't even see that before until you took pictures of it. This is what I had the guys do last night, guys. I said, get pictures of your grip. Let me evaluate them. Now, James is a pretty good shot. You know, Kurt Richards was a good shot. Kurt Richards is an awesome shot. When I did his, he sent a video in. Beautiful. Great control of the weapon. Muscles working great. Doing everything perfect. But he had this big gap. He wasn't really closing his hands up. We gave him a few little adjustments. I did a little video for him. I said, this is what's happened. This is what I see. And bingo, bango. His grips changed. His accuracy went better, which is amazing. He was already shooting good. He was muscling the gun good. This is the challenge, guys. We need to control the pistol, not muscle the pistol. You muscle a pistol, you're going to put some torque on it. You put torque on it, you'll lose the game. You can't over-torque a firearm. We got to control a firearm. I did not know that. Here we go, James Russell's. I did not know I was doing that until today. Hey, congratulations, buddy. Congratulations. That's a big aha, isn't it? We talk about in the Skool community, we talk about aha moments. And I hate keep repeating all this stuff to you, but I want to make sure that anybody's here that hasn't heard about the Skool community, get your ass into it. Because there's a lot of valuable people like James and Pete and Bonnie and all these people that are working their accuracy fingers to the bone. They're just getting that stride now. There's just starting to, everything's starting to click. You know, and then all of a sudden now it's going to be, these targets going to start coming in and they're going to start saying, woo, okay. All right. This makes sense to me. And no, these guys, I've never met James. I've never shooken James's hand. I've never shook Pete's hand, Phil's hand. I've never had the opportunity. I'd love to, but I live in Lee County. I live in Florida, and these guys live all over the United States. And you can't believe I'm helping them with their accuracy? You'd never think that'd be possible. But it is. And they're winning. I-90, all you got to do is hit that little thing up top there, that little barcode up top there, and that actual, what's a QR code is what it's called. And that you shine that, you put your cell phone on that QR code, and you could join right up, my friend. You could join right up. And the cool thing is, I-90, I-190, I guess is what I should say. I'm saying I-90. It looks like it's I-90 West. I don't know what it is, but the cool thing is you're going to get the 4-week masterclass. And that 4-week masterclass was designed for students just like you. First week, you get foundation. Second week, you get trigger. Third week, you get grip, control, everything you need. And fourth week, by the end of the fourth week, you are understanding your firearm to a point where you understand what you're doing. My job as a firearms instructor is to support students any way I can and help them identify what they're doing wrong so we can solve it. If you think you are at a 50% or higher accuracy rate, which, I mean, that's 50 rounds. That's 25 rounds are going exactly where you want them. And the other 25 rounds, you have no clue. That's failing. That's failing. That's building a lot of anticipation. That's doing a lot of different stuff. If we can solve positive grip, we can solve front sight focus. We can solve a trigger travel or getting that trigger back nice and slow. You're going to go from 50% accurate to about 85 to 90% accurate. Flyers are going to happen. Nothing we can do about it. We're human. We're going to do some shit on the gun. We're going to do something stupid. But the uniquely thing about it is when I have you understanding what a good trigger press feels like, and you know what a bad trigger press feels like, you can start going, ooh, okay. I felt that. That makes sense to me. That's what the fat guy's saying. That's what the fat guy's been talking about this whole time. Then it starts making sense to you. Then you can educate yourself. Then you can help somebody else. That's the whole idea about all the Second Amendment stuff. What we're missing in the world today is more people getting into it. They're getting into it because what they're seeing on TV, not for the fun of it, not for the sport of it. They're getting it for self-defense. And I think that's good. But how much more time do they have to travel? They have to learn. Because you can't, I'm going to buy a gun and I'll have it in my house. Well, how dangerous is that if you don't know exactly what you're doing? You know, you can go to YouTube and watch an awful lot of videos. There's 850 of mine. But there are a ton of videos on there. A lot of them talk down to you. A lot of them talk like you're in the military. Nothing against any of that in the military stuff. That's wonderful. But most of the people I deal with are new students. They may need a little bit more coddling. They may need to hear it a little differently. It may need to come off a little less aggressive for them to understand it. Large percentage of my base of students on YouTube are men from about 29 years old to about 70 years old. That's a wide group, isn't it? And about 95% of my channel is men. And the rest are women. Now, take it totally different at the store, right? Largest percent of my students are women. I teach women to shoot. I teach couples to shoot. I teach men to shoot too, but it's not as, like I had 5 classes today and I had mostly men today, to be honest with you. But they were all in classes already for me. I had them hooked already. I had the 2 ladies that were in the, the beginner class, basically. It's a new shooters class. And that new shooters class was a week ago. And they came in today to shoot their pistols or get pistols like it. Right? We let them try a couple pistols. Then the other guy came today with a 45 and, older gentleman. We had him shoot. But that's part of the deal. So as a firearms instructor, my job is to educate, motivate, and entertain and keep these guys coming to the range, come back and shooting. Because the more people I can get like that, I ain't got to open my store up for the masses. That's not what I want anyways. I want to know everybody that comes to my range. I want to know why you're there. And I want to help you become the best shooter you can be. Whether you're in my store or you're like I-90. I don't know where you're at, I-90. Where are you at, buddy? Did you tell me already or no? I don't remember. New York State. Yeah, there we go. New York State, right? So I got plenty of people in New York. Now, what cool thing is he's going to get targets. He's going to get homework. He's going to get a video. He's going to get a video. He's going to take that target to the local range, shoot 25 rounds, understand what he needs to do, take a picture of it, send it back into me. I evaluate it. We look at it as a group. You send it in the community. Not only am I evaluating it, no one's picking on it. Everyone's giving you good advice. Everyone's been exactly what you've done. They've been there. They can give you what they did to get that. The whole idea of this community is community-based. Yes, I'm the guy, but I'm not as important as James or Pete or Bonnie or any of these guys because they all are in the same journey. And that's the coolest thing about this Skool community. I've had this thing going for a long time through other programs. This is the nicest thing I've ever had. And that Skool community based thing like that, it's a game changer, man. You got me in your back pocket. I'm right there with you. You could be at the range, take a picture of your target. If you see I'm online, you can DM me. I get it. I get immediately access to it. Hello, hey John, I'm at the range. Are you available for me to send you a picture of my? Oh yeah, go ahead, send it to me, and I can maybe give you some advice. What's going on? Tell me the next firearms instructor that's going to be available for you like that. It's not. There isn't. And as we get the community going bigger and bigger and bigger, there's only so much. I can't get bigger. I don't want to get bigger, guys. I want to lose weight, right? But I can only be so many. That's why I have to count on the guys in the community to help me out. To help me out, help the new people out. Because the new people have got in here, the top 100, the first 100 only took 14 days. The second 100 took another 14 days. And now we're at 300, and we're not even at the end of, we're at 20 days into January. So we could be close to 400 by the end of January. Ain't crazy. Because they're so starved for education, so starved for accuracy, so starved for the know-how. There's no magical button. There's no magical pill. You've got to do the work. But it's kind of nice to be able to know the work and how to do the work and how to understand it. What causes this to cause that? And that's what I'm giving you through the videos, through the Skool community, through the embrace of the other students that are in this thing. All right. Lock your wrist. Number 2 is build a 360-degree grip. 360-degree grip, it seems like it's just hey, Rob Palmer, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Glad you're here. There's no cost to it, buddy. Buttons and dots is no cost. It's free. WR free E. The Skool community is always free. Now, there are membership-based things you can do. You want to go premium, it's $50 for the year. $50 for the year. You're going to get one drill a month. One drill a month, and there's a paywall past that point. You can become a VIP, $29 a month. $29 a month, but you get access to everything. You get no paywalls at that point in time. You get all the classes, all the ebooks, all the PDFs, all of everything we're going to have this year. You get it for $29 a month. Or if you want to pay for it yearly, it's $270 for the year. And that includes getting $78 discount for paying it all up front. Some people don't like to do the monthly thing. They want to pay it all up front. Some people want to pay it monthly. I give you 2 options. I don't give you 2 options on the premium because I don't want $5 a month. You know, it costs me $99 a month to run the Skool community through Skool. That's very economical. When I was through another broadcasting company that was doing it, I was paid $299 a month for a free community. So, yeah, it's awesome. You want to know more buttons and dots? Buttons and dots, there is the QR code up top. That takes you to take your photo, take your phone, hit that QR code. From that QR code, it gives you a little bit about us, a little bit why we do it, and then there is ability to sign up. And listen, there is no commitment here, guys. You can get in and get out. That's not going to cause any problems at all. I would recommend if you're going to think you're going to get out of it, just go monthly. Yearly is one of those deals, and once you're in because the way it happens. So I would not recommend hopping in until you're ready. But when you're ready, get in because the VIP guys are capped at 25. I cannot give the VIPs anymore. And I really haven't done much with the VIPs yet. And they've been very, very much patient. I give them all opportunities. VIPs get personal one-on-one conversations with me. They can call, they can talk, they can watch, they can do anything they want. I talk to them. I'll have communication with them. We do personal phone calls with them, and they know they have my number, and we're always having communicational basis there now. Each week, it seems like our Monday night calls are mostly our members that are bought in kind of deal. So they're like getting a weekly one call with me, but the group gets the one call with me and VIPs get their personal calls, personal times. And I do on the masterclass, on the HTS, there are onboarding calls on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. And those are signed up and those are free. Just giving you a heads up there. Okay, so 360-degree grip is easy. It's not hard to understand. You got to get your hands around the gun, but you can't be squeezing with your hands. You got to be driving with your chest muscles and let your hands close up around the firearm. Once they close up around the firearm, you'll be controlling it. Number 3 is let your support hand, that's your non-dominant hand, do most of the work. There's a problem with most right-handed students. Once the right-handed student gets involved in shooting, they try to close their right hand stronger than their left hand. And it's the opposite, guys, because it is a mathematical equation. 3 fingers are going to have less power than 4 fingers. Pretty simple and easy, but you got to make sure you get that good 60-40 grip. 60% comes from your non-dominant hand, and 40% comes from your dominant hand. Another thing that happens a lot of times is we're getting gaps in the top of the gun, high on the tang. You've got to get as high as you can on the firearm. If you're not high on the firearm and you have some gap up there, if you have gap, the firearm will take it. I've told you before, a firearm's a bully, and anything that you give it room to move, it's going to move. Check out that video on my YouTube channel of me doing the slow motion with a proper grip. That means 2 thumbs forward, getting my wrist where it needs to be, but I opened my grip. I had more of a, I wasn't really doing much control of the pistol. And amazingly, if you watch that video and watch that gun rocket out of my hand, now you can have a good positive 2 thumbs forward grip, give yourself an excellent trigger press. But if you're not holding on to the firearm exactly perfect, you'll see exactly what that looks like in that slow motion video. The coolest thing about that slow motion video is when you see that round come out, ching, and it hits the ground, and in the background you hear ting, 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 because it hits the can, and it hits the wall, and it hits the floor, and you hear it all ricocheting around down there. And it just makes this weird, like this old muddle, boom, 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 and it goes right there. And then when you watch that video for the final time and you physically watch me run that gun with proper grip and you watch how it doesn't move, it stays completely still. A weapon that is still will shoot excellent, will shoot great. If your sights bobble, your bullet will bobble. If your sight's in control and still, your bullet will be in control and still. Okay. So getting high on that tang is kind of important. 2 thumbs forward, locked in. A lot of times what you'll see is somebody have 2 thumbs forward, but they'll have this thumb out there. They don't want to touch the gun with it. They think this thumb's going to get hurt by touching the slide. That slide will not hurt you, ladies and gentlemen, unless you put your thumb behind the slide. And that's crossing your thumb on the backside of your firearm. And that will hurt you. I promise you that. That will hurt you big time. And what tends to happen with there is you get students in the bag that cross the thumb and have it down low on the hand. And then they do it the next time and have it up a little higher. And the third time they got it up so high that when they cut the shot, the slide comes back and bites the crap out of them. And they're using all my damn Band-Aids in the back because they're bleeding all over the place. And then he probably shot that gun 8 times. But just at that last one, he put his hand up high enough that he got bit. And he doesn't know what happened because he didn't do it the first time, didn't do it the second time, didn't do it the third time, didn't do it the fourth time. Then the 5th time come along, bam, he got bit. What happened? He doesn't know. He has no clue because no one's been able to say, hey, listen, don't do that behind your grip. Don't do that. You're going to get bit. And then that jackass takes his wife to the range because she wants to learn to shoot, and he doesn't watch her. And what's the first thing she does but put her thumb back behind the gun? And she gets bit by that damn thing. Well, she's done. It's going to take an awful long time to get her to go back. And she surely ain't going shooting with you. That's why you got to introduce an instructor to her. I tell men all the time, listen, your wife has seen you do some stupid ass shit, man. She don't want you teaching her to shoot. Let me help you. Let me help you get her foundation down. And then at that point in time, you guys can come together. And maybe do a class together for you can help me reinforce what I'm teaching your wife. And then maybe she can help you a little bit. Because once I teach a woman to shoot, she's dangerous. She's accurate. She's confident. She's in control. She's running the tool. The tool ain't running her. Give me 20 women to 1 man. I love training women. I'm their shooting spouse. I'll get them shooting. Right? The men have to work at it. Because we've been playing cowboys and Indian. I'm not picking on the men. We just been doing it a long time. And we don't always think like we should. You know, we've been paying cowboys. These things have been in our pockets forever. Bang, 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 bang. And it's never misfired. It's never gone off. It's never done anything. So we really have to work on the safety aspect of it. The security part about it. The support. Eliminate, this is for you, James. Eliminate all spaces between your hands. 2 hands must act like one piece. One piece. No spaces, no twisting, no wiggles. Yeah, well, you know what ends up happening a lot of I knew you respond there. All right, button and dots. Here's the normal what's going on. Glock 45 for 4 years, not consistent. I'm returning from last year. Can't pass the precision test. I'm 21. Well, there's a lot of stuff can be happening. I can tell you, buttons and dots, if you pay attention to the first week of the masterclass, it costs you nothing. Just hop into it. It's going to give you evaluations. There's commonly what goes on. When you say Glock 45, are you saying 45 ACP? Or are you saying the new Glock 40? This is the stupid thing at Glock. They made a Glock 30, which is a 45. Or are you talking a Glock 45, which is a 9mm? And that's kind of, he says, for 4 years. So maybe You may be talking 45. So let me know about the dots. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you're shooting a 45. Doesn't matter if you're shooting a 9mm. Doesn't matter about anything. First of all, we got to get a good grip. Grip is 60-40. Run that through. Go to my YouTube channel. Watch the masterclass playlist, my friend. Watch my masterclass playlist. It's right there. All right, 9mm. Beautiful. So 9mm doesn't have much of a kick. So what we need to do is, do you feel, in your opinion, if the grip is if your recoil is outrageous, or is your recoil somewhere in the middle? Kind of give me that. Where do you think the recoil is on the 9mm? That's gonna make a big difference, because most of the time when you're having 9mm issues or you're having recoil issues, it's because you're doing a couple different things, like anticipating or flinching, right? That means that you're pulling the trigger, not pressing the trigger. We want to use the tip of our finger to engage the trigger, not the crease. It's very simple if you really think about it. If you're actually using a pen assembly or anything else like that, and you're pressing the trigger with the tip of your finger, if you pay attention right here, buddy, that pin's not moving right or left. It's going straight down because I'm pressing the trigger, pressing the pin plunger straight down. When you take your trigger finger and stick it in, do you see how it starts rolling off? See how that's going? That's your left right here. That's your left. And that's what's causing a lot of stuff. This is called trigger drift. And when you take the trigger in and you start good, and then you start rolling your finger in, our trigger finger is for pressing a trigger, not for holding on to the pistol. The trigger doesn't go low and left. Yeah, okay. So what you want to do first and foremost is make sure that you're using the tip of your finger. There's an issue here with this piece right here. This piece of skin right here. If this touches the firearm, you're going to be pushing the gun off to the left because we're touching the skin or driving the skin this direction, and that touches. So there's a gap thing. So that can be it, right? Grip is a very, very lefty thing. It causes a lot of left issues if you're not getting that good 60-40 grip. You need to make sure you're getting a good, decent. Are you doing the 2 thumbs forward? If you're doing 2 thumbs forward, that's going to make a difference. If you're tucking a thumb, that's going to cause a lot of thumbing issues. And then last but not least is we need to get that trigger back in a slow, continuous cadence. I don't know how. Is this your first time being on the live, or have you been here before? I don't remember that. Thumbs forward. Okay, so you got to make sure the thumbs forward are above the line. So you got to be on the slide itself, not below the slide. That's another thing that happens. And you can't apply any pressure with the thumbs. The thumbs are just there laying. That's the key thing. And then work on bringing that trigger back nice and slow. Almost ridiculously slow. If you want, you can put yourself in a position this evening afterwards. Make sure the gun's completely dry. Make sure you're in a room with no ammo, no bags, none of that stuff. Okay, so that's cool. No bags, no money, nothing in the room except the magazine itself, empty magazine, and go ahead and put the gun in slide lock. Verify it's empty. Verify the magazine is empty. Now put the magazine on the other side of the room and close the gun. Now rack the gun a couple times to make sure it's completely empty. Then I want you to put the gun out in front of you, and I want you to find your switch plate, light plate, or anything else in the room, and I want you to slam the shit out of that trigger. And I want you to watch the front of that gun wiggle. All right. And then I want you to do that 6 times, 8 times, 10 times. I don't care how many times you do it, but I want you to really feel what a shitty trigger feels like. Now, I want you to bring it back up, get in your line of sight, and I want you to bring that trigger back as slow as you can, like molasses in 1-degree weather. I want you to feel every creep, Chris, everything. Get it back. Oh, bam, it goes off. And watch your front post. Did it jiggle? Did it move? Did it wiggle? If it did any of that stuff, well, you're slamming the trigger. You need to slow down. We need to get that trigger back. So here's the drill. Put the gun out in front of you. Put your finger on the trigger. Now make sure you're using the tip of your finger too. Don't put your crease in there. Tip of your finger. Then I want you to bring the trigger back nice and slow. And I want you to start with a cadence of press. P-R-E-S-S. And I want you to apply pressure to that trigger and let it come back all the way until it gets to the last S. And somewhere between the first S and the second S, if you're applying pressure properly, that weapon's going to cut. And that's your cleanest trigger press. And if you got that you're doing that over and over again, now you're starting to feel that and you're starting to get that cadence down, then you're going to do probably 20 to 25 of those a night before you go to the range on Saturday. And on Saturday, what I want you to do is do that same exact thing, but I want you to give me 5 dry and 5 live. 5 dry and 5 live. And watch your groups tighten up. Now, the last thing that most people are doing that causes low and left is they're focusing on the target and not focusing on their front post. We are front sight focused people. We are front sight focused. Okay. One second here, guys. Got something from them saying. Still there? We are front sight focused people. And the more front sight focused we are, the better we're going to be. So what this means is go ahead and you could use me as a target if you want. You could use the targets behind my side here. But what I want you really to do is I want you to put your finger right out in front of you here. And I want you to use my nose as a target. And I want you to focus on my nose, focus on my nose, focus on my nose, and then put your finger right out in front of you there. As you get your finger right out in front of you and you see my nose, your finger should look blurry to you at this point in time. Now what I want you to do is I want to change your focus to your front fingernail. Change your focus to your front fingernail. Change your focus to your front fingernail. Now, what do I look like? I'm a blurry mess. This is called front sight focus, and this will tighten your groups up dramatically. Listen, buddy, if you want to get more in details, get over to the masterclass. There's a free 30-minute consultation, and you can get your masterclass going for absolutely no money. You spend your time doing that. Take that first drill to the range, second drill to the range. You'll see improvement, I guarantee. All right. Eliminate spaces. Number 7 is freeze the gun during the trigger press, which is a common thing that students don't do. What this really means to you when I talk about freeze the gun through the trigger press is a good follow through. The follow through is when you drop your arms to look where your target is impacting. Well, that immediately tells me you're not confident with shooting a pistol. You've got to be confident with shooting a pistol to know when you point the weapon at the target, it's going to go where you're impacting, not anywhere else. And that becomes a thing of beauty once you get confident. There are plenty of videos, buttons that are on my video that will help you tremendously, but nothing like the masterclass. I guarantee you that. And you're not going to find anything on YouTube besides my channel that's going to have that. You want to increase your accuracy, get back into what you need to do. You need to invest in your future. It's the masterclass is the way to go, my friend. There we go, D. Marshall. Thanks for the commercial. D. Marshall says it changed to him. You won't regret it. Thank you, D. I appreciate you very much. You're awesome, brother. If the gun moves, the bullet moves. Hold it still and very press slowly every time. All right? And it needs to be a firm pressure to the trigger, not a shaky pressure to the trigger. And I think this is just the ability to understand without guess where your weapon needs to be. Thank you, John. Where the weapon needs to be, how far the trigger needs to come back before it goes bang. And I think this is the biggest education that students don't get. What they're not doing enough of, what you'd be doing a shitload of, is dry firing. Because what you don't realize, that you have a monster inside you, and it's trying to help you eliminate this noise, this aggression that's coming in your hands. It's not natural to shoot a firearm, boys and girls. So your body's going, woo! And it's trying to, it engages the trigger before you do. It engages the trigger before you do. And if it engages the trigger and your sights aren't on target, then you're going to have a problem. So what you need to do, like anything else in the revolver world, they call it staging. You need to stage the trigger. We do the same thing in semi-automatics. We have to get the slack out of the trigger to a certain point. Then we focus on our sights and finish the shot. And then when you finish the shot, either you bring it back to reset or you cut through the whole shot again. Remember, we have to get this through the swing. We have touched the trigger and we have bang. And everywhere in between, we have to understand the route, right? We go to work every day. We don't go to work different routes each day. We take the same route. We stop at the same 7-Eleven. We drink the same coffee. Same thing here. You got to understand it. If you don't understand it, that's causing some of the issues. Got to get that trigger back in a slow, because really, think about it. Is the trigger making the gun go low and left? No. The trigger only goes two ways, forward and backwards. That's it. So it doesn't cause low and left. Your sights can cause low and left. Your eyes can cause low and left. Your grip can definitely cause low and left. We've proven that already multiple times. But put it all together, you think it's your grip. You think it's your sights. You think it's your trigger. No, it's a little bit of everything. Let's work on that. Let's work on a good solid grip, a good solid foundation. I don't know one house ever that can be built without having a level and solid foundation. Because if it's off by that much and the house is 60 feet long, it'll be 1.5 feet if it's not level. And what's going to line up then? Windows, doors, none of that. No, nothing. Nothing's going to line up because you didn't level the surface. That's why they spend so much time leveling the surface before they build a house. Southwest Florida is building houses in every corner. I don't know what they're going to do with all of them, but they're building them. But if you watch how that goes, once they got that foundation leveled, Now, they do a lot of block homes here in Florida. We don't do a lot of wood homes in Florida. Not in Southwest Florida, that is. There are other places they do use wood, but not here. Normally in Southwest Florida. Thank you, John. I appreciate you saying that, buddy. Yeah, yeah, and that's the key thing. Getting comfortable, being comfortable, and everything is. One of the other things that a lot of people are doing is they're bending their elbows. They're not getting full extension, and that full extension, I want you to feel this if you haven't felt it before, and this will tell me more than anything else is if button and dots. If you hold your hands out in front of you, are you a gentleman or a woman? I don't know by that name. Button dots. I would assume a man, but I don't know that. It doesn't matter. If you put your hands out in front of you and you squeeze your hands together, you should feel your pecs kick in. If you feel that pec kick in when you're naturally shooting, gentlemen, thank you, sir. Put your hands out in front of you, buddy, and squeeze your hands together. You should feel your pecs kick in. If you are not feeling that when you're shooting, you are not controlling the pistol. This is a tell right here. You don't need to go to the range to do this. Put your hands right out in front of you and squeeze your hands together and feel that. If you feel that pressure of your pecs right here tying up into that gun, then you're doing it right. If you don't feel that, then it's most likely a grip issue you're having. Well, I already know it's a grip issue you're having. I already know that. Because all the other stuff that's affected, you told me, you wrote me a thing about 12, and so I didn't read it all. But what I'm saying to you is not trying to be rude, but I can tell if you're not gripping the gun right, you're not controlling it. And that's going to tell you immediately that pressure you feel right there is what you should be feeling when you're shooting. And I almost bet you're going to call me, you're going to say, that's not what I'm feeling. Now, we don't need to have that much pressure that I want you to feel, but I want you to really feel it. That way you can get the concept of it. All right? And when you drive the weapon forward, the reason why I ask you, a gentleman or a man, when a woman does this, she's pushing out with her dominant hand and pulling back with her non-dominant hand and getting her back muscles. Ladies, listen to me. Yeah, you don't need to worry about the range. You do it right in your living room. You get the feel. You should be doing that same thing when you're dry firing. Drive. If you're not driving that gun while dry firing like you're going to shoot a live fire, you're wasting your time dry firing. We need to run the gun when we dry fire and live fire the same. Because if we don't do that, then we're going to have two different kind of the guns. Because what happens is we don't need to control the pistol when we dry fire. So we don't. So every time we dry fire, we're not really controlling the pistol. Are we learning anything from that? Absolutely not. That's like me shooting a 22. I never shoot a 22 well because I don't control it well because I know I don't have to control it because it doesn't kick. But the moment I put the power and the pressure on like I'm going to shoot a 9mm, my grips tighten right up on that. Right? And that's kind of what we need to do. We need to make sure we're driving it just like we are when it's live or when it's dead. All right. Another thing I could tell you is here's a tell. These are all good tells tonight, man. If you have to re-grip between the first, maybe second or third shot and re-grip again on the fifth shot, then you're not holding on to the pistol properly. You got a grip issue again. If you have to re-grip, which is called milking, and you've got to grip the firearm each time, then you're not driving the pistol with your chest muscles. We don't use our hands to control the pistol. We use our pecs to control the pistols. And that's a big tell for most students. Because you watch them shoot and the gun is dipping during the shot, then we are not controlling the pistol. We're not locking our wrist out. We're not doing a lot of stuff. Yeah, the push and pull is more what's happening there is you push and pull. You're pushing the gun out towards the left. That's why we do squeeze here. If you grip the gun with your good hand and your non-dominant hand is doing most of the work, you could do that. But when you push and pull, you're losing your power when you pull back, you understand? So now you're pulling back and you're pushing forward, which automatically is going to tilt the gun to the left. That's why we don't want to do push and pull as a man. We want to press with our hands here and control the pistol. Common stuff, man. It's just hard to figure it out yourself. That's all. Hard to figure it out yourself. 2 weeks of the masterclass, you'll have it all set up, man. And last thing is, most likely when you're standing with your 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, that's not going to help you very much compared to having feet shoulder width apart, bouncing on your knees, leaning forward, transferring your weight, and moving the gun over your dominant eye. Because if you got the gun over your nose and you're using your dominant eye to shoot the pistol, you're already shooting at a device. There's where the left comes, right? Because now you have to adjust the gun to move your eye to get your eye over the weapon. Our job is to marry the weapon and the eye together. If we marry the weapon and the eye together, how can we shoot any other way but straight? Yep. It doesn't cost you anything to join it, buddy. Get in there. Don't wait. Don't wait. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free. All you watch the videos. Doesn't cost you. Dry fire. Doesn't cost you. You're worried about range time and everything else. By April, by February, by the end of February, you probably have it figured out, buddy. We got 20 days. You have the first 2 weeks locked in. Then you can start tightening up groups and get your couple of your free calls we give you. Get your targets, take pictures of them, send them in. You do you, boo. You want to get back. You want to qualify. You want to get all that stuff. It's easy. All right, closing messages. Well, tonight was sponsored by me. You want to get involved in the masterclass or you want to get involved in any of the other stuff or any of the ebooks? That's the cool thing about the ebooks. They're about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. And they're what I teach students on a regular day basis. You're going to get the knowledge, you're going to get the power and the strength every night to feel more comfortable each time you do something. You know what ends up happening a lot of times, people say, well, I'll do that next week. This is what the master class is about. It gives you the ability to have somebody watching you saying, hey, let's get this going, right? It's great. We got 300 people on the handgun training system, but I could give you we've got probably 35 people doing it on a regular basis, and other people are in and out. And I understand. I know it's expensive to shoot, but you don't need to shoot a pistol. You could dry fire. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Education is everything. Watch the videos, watch the time, dry fire, get to the range. Every one of our drills, guys, that we give you in the masterclass or anytime you go to the range, you shouldn't be shooting over more than 50 rounds. You should be doing 5 rounds at a time. You have 5 rounds at a time, evaluating your targets, doing what you need to do. You're looking anywhere from 49 to 60 minutes at the range for 50 rounds. Most people shoot 50 rounds in 10 minutes. And what did they get out of that 50 rounds in 10 minutes besides bad accuracy and a bad problem with trigger control? And they have no idea what they're doing. How did they even evaluate what the first 5 shots are doing? Here's a pro tip for you. Next time you go to the range, make sure you have those markers with you, guys. In the masterclass, we ask you to mark your targets, mark your shots, mark your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth shot each time you do it. And then you can evaluate with a different color marker when you shoot the next time and the next time. So you do the 20-round drill and you start evaluating, saying, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Look at 5. 5 was always pulled. It was always a pulled shot because I rushed it. Because everyone is rushing to empty. You want to challenge yourself. I want you to try to shoot 5 rounds with 5-second count in between it. And if you can't do it, let one of your friends count for you. I'm not talking about 5-second count. I'm talking about shoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shoot 1. Your body will freak out because it's used to you bang, 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 bang. And when you start telling it, hey, we're going to slow down and we're going to concentrate on a good, solid trigger press, we're going to concentrate on groups, not bullseyes, you're going to find yourself really, really, if you do it properly, if you drive your chest muscles, yeah, it's about an hour. It's about an hour, D. If you do what you normally do, buddy, you put 5, you evaluate. You put 5, you evaluate. You put 5, you evaluate. Take your time, load your mags, take your time. It's about a minute around. I mean, that makes sense to me. And you're walking out of the range with some confidence. You're walking out of the range not being super fatigued. You didn't get your hands beat up, right? You evaluated your targets. You finished off in a good day, and you feel pretty confident that you're working and most of the targets are set up and you can kind of get an idea. And then we want to extend your range time, extend your distance. That's more important. Make sure that 21-foot range and there's no place I can put the target that you can't impact it. Now, obviously, the further we get out, the harder it is to keep it in the center of the paper plate. That's just because of the gravity and things like that. But the more consistent we are with the weapon, the more consistent we are with the trigger control and putting the accuracy foundation together, the better you're going to be. It surely will make a difference. But if you fix your accuracy, if you fix your grip, accuracy will automatically come. That's what I told you guys earlier. What we end up doing for you guys is build a confidence in you. What is your confidence in impacting the target exactly where you're aiming? If I said to you, and I put a little orange circle out there at, 5 yards, 1-inch circle. Every bullet you got in the 1-inch circle, you got $1. Comment below. Comment below in honesty. At the end of the 10 rounds, how many dollars would you have on the table? Would you be 5? I'm talking about you don't have to hit the orange dot, but all your bullets are around the orange dot, and most of them are going to be around the orange dot, not below the orange dot. And every bullet you shoot below the orange dot, it takes $1 away. On it. James said $1. You're being hard on yourself, pal. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Yeah, you kind of rush and all that stuff. I understand it. But I can tell you that I personally myself would probably have $4 on the table. I would tell you that most of the time I would be uh, I might have a good day and get five on the table, maybe six. But on an average day or so like that, I would tell you probably somewhere between four and five. I wouldn't say I'd be any higher than that. I would be surprised if I was, because now I'm focusing on some little small dot, which I really don't have to do. I tell you guys all the time, you are not bullseye shooters. Don't expect yourself to be one. We are defensive shooters. If I'm aiming at the 1 inch dot and all my bullets impact around or right in that area, I'm excited. If I hit that dot, that's great. But if I put a 3 inch circle around that dot, just put a compass and went 3 inch circle around there, I don't think my bullets would be out of that 3 inch circle. That's a good deal. Academy, $12. That's good. That is a good deal there, bud. That's a phenomenal deal. That is a good deal. Well, that was a fun night. I hope I helped everybody out this evening. And I could. Yeah, I don't know if you could tell, but it's sort of my passion to get you guys through this. We had a great night. We've had almost 11 people this whole time. I'm gonna go back and look up and see if there's any questions I missed that I wasn't. I got off on a little tangent there with Pokey Dots, but I appreciate that because it makes a big difference for me to help a student out. That's why we do all this stuff. And the people who stayed are learning from what I'm telling him because their accuracy is probably about the same. And they have run into little problems here or there, and it makes a big difference for each time. If you can hear it, see it, and look at it, that's the cool thing about a lot of these books we have. There are videos attached to these through our handgun training system, as well as, and you go to my YouTube channel, there are videos of the masterclass videos, which it will support you tremendously, including the fact that we're doing videos on a regular basis. I actually have a YouTube video that's coming up tomorrow, the next day, that will pipe in that will be about grip as well. I'm just finalizing and finish it up now, so it'll be up Wednesday, probably Wednesday afternoon or so, and then you'll be able to. Because my they want me to post around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so sometime tomorrow you'll see the new video. If you're part of the HTS system, I go ahead and take my video and go ahead and post it up in front of the group here so they get to see it as well. So it goes through the Skool community as well as you get it on YouTube, and we do it on Facebook as well. So a lot of different ways to get it. You can see it in a lot of different ways. Each week we're here for you Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Now on the Skool community, there is a Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. 9:30 and 10 o'clock calls that you could sign up for. And there is, that's on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. And we're just about to do the onboarding calls, a group onboarding calls, which we got to find a calendar date for that. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Always means a lot to me. Those that are new, you'll pass in April. I promise you that, man. As long as you don't lose your trigger finger from here and now, you'll pass. Because it's probably just something simple, buddy. It isn't something big. Buttons. It isn't something big. And the average person, James, or any of those guys that came into this thing, that first target will tell us so much. That's your base target. Take that to the range and shoot it, man. That's going to tell me everything I need to know. Uh, you don't get to hear it, but years ago, my son Johnny helped me get my YouTube channel. We used to do the Shot Doctor. And the Shot Doctor, hey, Rob, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate your time. And the Shot Doctor was my head on a doctor's body, and I would evaluate targets from the weekend because I don't work Sundays, and I would do a video on what I thought the student was doing. And I would evaluate, look at, and see, and kind of fix, so it kind of helped people out. That was the concept that got this going. That was the concept that got the YouTube channel going, and that YouTube channel got the masterclass going. So it's all kind of it all kind of works together. Because what I wanted to do is do coaching from home with people and their targets and their videos, and it's coming to fruition, especially now with Skool. Because there's a lot of stuff. Just make sure when you get into Skool that you download the app. Using the app on your phone is a lot easier, and it's very user friendly. We don't have the youngest crowd doing this, right? We don't have a bunch of young 20-year-olds doing this. There's a lot of older people in this, like myself. And I have not had anybody call me, I can't figure this out. It is so user friendly that it just makes common sense to use it for a lot of different stuff. Well, thank you very much for your time. I love you guys very much. God bless. Be safe. And until next week, God willing, I'll see you. Good night, folks.